Sure. So there are many other ways to build container images. For instance, build packs are really popular. They've been kind of popularized on Heroku and then Cloud Foundry. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of build packs, but this is absolutely a matter of personal taste. I'm not saying build packs are bad by all means. Rather, instead, like if you don't like Dockerfiles because it feels too kind of complicated and you just want something to automatically, magically figure out how to build an image from your source, then try build packs because that's kind of what they try to do. For me, it doesn't work that great because I always tend to stray away from the path a little bit. I want to add a package, I want to hack something, and Dockerfiles, I think, are better suited to that. There are a couple of other techniques. For instance, you have many language-specific techniques like Go, just like K-O for Go, which basically builds a Docker image almost out of thin air. So if you just do Go, definitely have a look at it because it's awesome. There is a Jib, J-I-B in Java, which kind of does the same. These two can build images without Docker itself. And finally, if you use stuff like Bazel or Nix, these have ways to also assemble even like fairly complex container images without Docker itself, without Dockerfiles, and sometimes with outstanding results. But it's a pretty big learning curve. So it's a little bit like driving Formula One. It's great, it's fast, but if you just need something to go and get some bread down the streets, maybe it's not what you want. So specialized container distros are great. Flatcar in particular, yeah, I love Flatcar. I think it's pretty awesome. And the way I see it in use is to build appliances and make it easier to upgrade them without wondering each time, oh, is this going to work? After I upgrade all these packages, because one of the ideas, and that's just the way I see it, maybe Flatcar experts would kind of disagree here, is that you have the base system and you're just going to drop a few configuration files on top of it. So it's very minimal and that's going to be the end result. So when you need to upgrade, you replace that base image, you just sprinkle your handful of configuration files on top of it and it should just work, keep working. And the way it achieves that, for instance, one of the ways is a heavy reliance on systemd and systemd drop-ins. One of the ideas behind this is that any aspect of systemd units can be kind of extended just by dropping an extra file somewhere. And so ideally, very often we need to change a configuration file, we need maybe to add a line or change a line, and so for upgrades that kind of sucks because when the base configuration changes you need to merge your change with the original configuration, and systemd drop-ins address that. So Flatcar is pretty great in that regard. Now, specifically to run Kubernetes nodes, I also like Talos a lot. It's really amazing. I'm kind of in the process of learning the ins and outs of it on top of Proxmox clusters, and I'm really impressed. Like every day, I'm like, oh, let's see. Currently, basically, I'm trying to see, okay, how long does it take to spin up 100 clusters on top of a small Proxmox cluster, and I don't have the answer yet, but I think we're looking at minutes, and that's a really fun experiment. So yeah, I really like these operating systems. I think they definitely bring something super interesting to the infrastructure space. So I would say, if I had to choose, do I need to learn Docker or Kubernetes or the two? As always, the answer is it depends. I think, very often when folks ask me, hey, should I use Docker or Kubernetes for that project? My answer boils down to, can this whole stack fit on a single machine? If I can fit the whole thing on a single machine, and if it's fine for HA and so on, then I'm fine with Docker, and I would probably use Docker because it's going to be simpler. Now, as soon as I need multiple machines, maybe because the stack is really big and needs to scale out, or maybe because I need high availability, so I need multiple machines, then I would definitely look at Kubernetes. So basically, if somebody asks me which one do I need to learn, I would look at, hey, what kind of applications are you developing or supporting? I think for someone who's between, air quote, like a DevOps practitioner, today it's really relevant to know both. Now, if someone is, I would say, purely a developer, and they're really strong on algorithmics and software architecture and so on, and they are not too concerned with the final deployment of the code and so on, I think they would be fine with just Docker. On the other hand, if someone is more in a ops, SRE, sysadmin kind of role, I would strongly advise to learn Kubernetes as well. Good? Okay. Hey.